Friday, January 22nd, 2021. This is Miguel Solari with the Plastic Free Weekly News Wrap-Up, in which I share with you some of the stuff I like to read and just talk about with myself and my friends around single-use plastic, zero waste living, and sustainability. So this is the last week's news cycle, and so please, if you like this content, if you find it valuable for yourself so that you can share it with the people around you, follow me, subscribe to my channel, follow me on my socials, or share this content. That would be awesome. Or better yet, come to my plastic free store, my shop, and buy some of my products, and that would be awesome too. So let's continue. Let's start. Boom, 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 boom. I need a band. All right, here we go. Bam. Okay, Big Oil's flagship plastic waste project sinks onto the Ganges. So this is about the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, which was started a couple years ago, I think, by 50 plus companies, but the main ones being like Mobil, Shell, Chevron, Exxon, and all of those big ones, and some petrochemical ones like Dow Chemical and such. And they pulled together like $1.5 billion to solve the problem, to end plastic waste. And this project here in the Ganges, this was one of the ones that they were going to tackle, and they had made all these promises. We're going to pick up all of this waste and blah blah blah. And the project, like, basically the equipment was left over. The group that was left to do it, Renew Oceans, closed, and at the end of it, like, the Chevron like used some footage from Renew Oceans of their workers collecting plastic on the Ganges, promoting their efforts in July, even though the project had stopped operations in March. Like, classic greenwashing, you know. The thing about it is that, like, when these companies got together and they it was a big launch. I remember people like myself and like a lot of environmentalists like saw right through it. Like, these same big companies, the same petrochemical companies and these oil companies, they had pulled together $250 billion to quadruple the amount of plastic production by the year 2050. Like, whereas like we're trying to like stop all of this plastic from happening, they're like, no, we're gonna double down. We're gonna like quadruple. And they're banking on plastic because they see their profits are starting to dwindle with plastic production because of the rise in more like electric cars. So really just like mind-boggling stuff. I mean, when I read this, like, I literally was like tripping out, like, man, like, it's like if I were to like make up, I'm just gonna make it up. I made this up last night in my head. If I'm gonna make up a conspiracy, here's my conspiracy theory. I just made this up, all right? There's no truth based in this at all. There's no research. But if I were to make up a conspiracy theory, I always say that a cabal of petrochemical companies and oil companies got together. They created COVID. They made a COVID strain so that like it just keeps happening, and that's just gonna keep us using more and more plastic, being more dependent, and using more bags and all this stuff. And they got all their lobbyists out there so they can reach their goals of plastic production profit by the year 2050. There you go. I just made that up. It's not based on there's no fact behind it, but just something to think about. Like, you know, I don't know. The world is crazy. People are crazy. All right, so let's move on to some happy news based on research, reality, things that actually happen, not conspiracies that I just made up. In Mardi Gras season, wooden tokens could be an alternative to plastic beads. So this is about this awesome woman named Alma Robinshaw. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name correctly, but she wanted to basically stop the tradition of leaving all this plastic trash after Mardi Gras. And so after 2018, that they dug up 46 tons of plastic beads from in the canals under St. Charles Avenue, which is the St. Charles Street, which is where the parade happens. And you know, that sent her on, like, she worked hard and she like put her mind together to figure out how to get some help, and she ended up with a $500,000 grant from the EPA to solve the problem. And one of the solutions is wooden beads. Easy. Don't make it, just keep it easy, keep it natural. You know, it's like, I've been there and like I've seen all this trash, and imagine 46 tons just under St. Charles Avenue. Imagine how much more is like out in the ocean, in the Mississippi River, like in the sludges of the Gulf. It's sad. Yeah, so good job to Alma. Thank you so much, Alma, for your work. Let's move on to the next one. The next one's like a horror story for me. A Japanese company invented the world's first true non-combustible fiber-reinforced plastic that cleared blah blah blah. basically you see a video and this thing that where they put this plastic made out of this stuff and they put ice inside and then they close it and they douse it with fire, they torch it, and this stuff does not burn, and the ice is still cold inside, like untouched. Yeah, it's like as if plastic wasn't already a problem. We're trying to figure out how to get rid of it here. These people are making like indestructible plastic. Anyway, I was like, dude, no. All right, so last week's news cycle was at the end. I talked about how microplastic pollution is found in the Arctic, all over the Arctic, and I showed a study, and it comes from your clothes. All the microplastics that are found in microfibers are coming from our clothing, synthetic clothing. Most of our clothing, if you look at the labels, it's nylon or some kind of synthetic material. If it's not cotton or wool or silk, it's nylon or some other like plastic derived product, and they're finding it all over the oceans, and it happens when we do laundries, when they shed the most, ends up in the water. And even though the waste stream, the water treatment plants filter most of it, like 90+% of it, it still accumulates such that most of it, a lot of our time, ends up in the ocean in harmful amounts. So that led, and you can read this article, this is really cool actually if you want to learn, but that's not, I brought this up because it basically led me to like see all these other articles about all of these other companies trying to figure out solutions to this problem. Like this one right here, Biology Q. They are making a case for EBTs, which are embedded bioremediation triggers somehow, and they don't go into detail about how they would do that, but basically making it so they manufacture plastic with the EBTs so that like the food web will somehow want to start to gnaw at it. You know how such like they found a few years ago how they found the plastic worm, the plastic eating worm, the plastic eating worms, and then they have like the plastic eating fungi, and these would like basically have triggers to like attract those any organism that wants to like start chomping at it. Which that led me on a rabbit hole to just look at more stuff, and I found this other one. These scientists in Finland like traced microplastic carbon in the aquatic food web by compound. Basically, they found like how in certain humic lakes, if you want to read, by the way, the link is there. This is a really long, thick scientific paper, but they went deep and they figured out in the food web in certain humic lakes how the plastic is being like eaten when it's small enough by microorganisms. The carbon is being taken out of them, and it's like a bioremediation, like nature will take care of itself eventually. But I have so many questions. Actually, I emailed the author of this because I want to know what about all the toxins. So here's another one. This is a tripped out one. New diamond-based process could save the ocean from microplastics, and this is using electrooxidation, which is already used in processing plants. But this one, they use a method using a diamond, boron-doped diamond and titanium cathodes for the electrooxidation, so that apparently that will zap the microfiber plastics and they'll just biodegrade. And I mean, I don't know how it truly works, but I read about it, I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. And they're talking about how, like, you know, ideally they could put this stuff at the end of like the laundry, and so the water will come out without the microplastics. Wow, sounds amazing if it can actually work, but you know, using diamonds, it's gonna get pretty expensive. Bling, bling, bling. Next one. This is a happy story, a very happy story about a young lady who petitioned 9-year-old girl who got 70,000 signatures in under a week to protest her government to stop sending waste to developing countries. Here she is. She wants to be a marine biologist. Her name's Lizzie. She's awesome. She just like was, you know, she's just loves school, and she loves learning about like the effects of microplastic pollution and plastics in general, and she saw what was happening in her country. She got 70,000 signatures in a week. Next, Greta Thunberg is growing up over there right now. That's super amazing, super happy story. We need more stories like that. And I will end this week's news cycle with this. I want to share this with you guys so you guys can check this out yourself. It's a 20-minute podcast, but really interesting about California is monitoring their microplastics in drinking water. and you can listen to it yourself, but I learned a lot in this one, and I'm going to share that with you. And my time's running out because I got to keep these under 10 minutes, so I'll say goodbye right here. Thank you so much for watching Plastic Free News Weekly Wrap Up with Miguel Solari. Peace. I'll see you next week.